Hello, welcome to the Rybrary. I'm your librarian, and we'll see if that catchphrase actually works. I've been playing with it in my brain, and I don't know if it's actually good or not. So we'll see how it goes. This is my first ever booktube video, and I'm going to be today reviewing this book, "Tales of the City" by Armistead Maupin. Maupin. I don't know. Um, and it's an interesting choice for my first uh, book that I'm going to review, or my first booktube video ever, because it's not really in my general wheelhouse. I tend to be more of a horror, sci-fi, fantasy guy. Um, so before this, I had read The Troop by Nick Cutter, which I absolutely loved, and which is one of my favorite books of the year so far, but which was very heavy, very emotionally draining in a lot of ways, and I kind of wanted something light afterward, something lighter and more, cozy, I guess. And I had been eyeballing this for a while, and so this book was originally published in 1978. It is a fix-up novel, sort of, because it was originally published in serialized form in the San Francisco Chronicle, and then was, rearranged and formatted for as a novel. It's sort of considered a classic of gay literature, from what I gather. My husband owns and has read all 10 of these, I believe. I think there's 10 in this series now that have come out in the years since this was originally published. And so they were just sitting on our shelves, and I decided to give this a whirl. I liked it overall. Like I said, it's not my general wheelhouse, and not something that I necessarily go out of my way to read this kind of thing. But there were definitely things about it that I really liked, and that I identified with as a gay man. To give you kind of just a little overview of what the book is, it starts with what maybe the main character, Marianne, just moving from Cleveland to San Francisco to try and kickstart her life in the late 70s. And she moves into a house at 28 Barbary Lane, and meets all kinds of fun, interesting people, and sort of becomes embroiled in the San Francisco culture of the time. One thing that I will say about this book is it's fairly time specific. There's lots of references that I didn't understand. There's a lot of discussion here of like high society and celebrities and stuff of the time, that frankly, gay men are typically more attuned to, but I'm not, necessarily that kind of gay man. And I'm definitely not as keyed into a lot of the celebrities that were well known in the 70s. But yeah, so we have Marianne, who is this young bright-eyed girl who just wants to like figure out her life, and makes friends with people here at 28 Barbary. Um, we also have the owner of the house that all these people live in at 28 Barbary. Her name's Anna Madrigal. She's kind of a stoner, I guess, but also comes off as very wise and very nurturing, motherly. Several times throughout reading this book, I was reminded of the American adaptation of Queer as Folk, which I grew up watching in the 2000s, and which was very influential for me as a budding gay kid. Learning about gay culture and that kind of thing, and I can see this, fulfilling that role for people in the late 70s. There are gay characters in this, and they're presented. I mean, Armistead Maupin is gay, and so the gay characters are presented in a very balanced, even light. They weren't the caricatures are in a positive or negative way. They're just real people, as we are. The main gay character is named Michael Mouse Tolliver. He's best friends with another character, Mona. She's kind of the crunchy hippie of the group. She's sort of trying to find her way. Everyone here is kind of just trying to find their way. This isn't like I should say, this isn't like a very plot heavy book. It's more just about like character interactions. And I think that's partially the product of how it was written and composed. It, like I said, this originally came out as a series of vignettes in the San Francisco, not vignettes. Each chapter was like a column in the San Francisco Chronicle, and then they were eventually compiled and reworked into a full book. But it very much feels like each chapter is its own little vignette, and the titles kind of bear that out. It'll just be like Breakfast in Bed is one, and Fantasia for two, and The Mysterious Caller. They're presented as like their own little moments as opposed to chapters in an ongoing narrative. What really is the selling point here is the characters. Like I said, if you're on a Storygraph or whatever, they have some different metrics they have, and one of them are the characters lovable, and like the percentage of that was like 80 something percent said that the characters in this book are lovable, and that's definitely true. You're rooting for almost all these people, even the ones that are assholes, and there are assholes among them. You're interested to see the ways that they kind of connect with each other. So a common thing here is that like a person that you meet in one context, you'll run into in another context. So like, for example, Michael's boyfriend is a OBGYN, and another one of the characters is a patient of his. I liked that aspect of it, but it's also felt sort of contrived a little bit to me. Like, this kind of thing happens a lot throughout this story, and it feels sort of unrealistic in that like all of these people their lives would be interweaving in all these different ways, so much. But it is fun. It's nothing that I would complain too much about. Like I said, though, it's not plot focused, but like you can sort of tell like toward the end he's trying to make it like he kind of tries to turn it into having a plot arc with like a climax and a conclusion, and it's sort of awkward, and how it's handled, and it leads to kind of two of the weirder things about this book, and I'll try not to spoil too much, but one thing is that one of the people living at the house is this guy named Norman, who Marianne, the main character, is sort of having a vague romance with. He turns out to be sort of weird, and I shouldn't say just weird, like messed up in some ways, and like it kind of threw me because it's not really set up to be like, whoa, this is like what this is what's going on with him. It's like it's a tonally weird thing when the rest of this book is like fairly light and doesn't feature too much heavy subject matter. There's like a very heavy thing going on with this guy, and is like kind of comes out of nowhere, and then like it feels sort of awkward, is my point, I guess. The other part of the climax is like Mona, the hippie woman who's bisexual, has as a girlfriend, and there's something at the end that she discovers about her girlfriend that is very weird and like problematic in a way. It's just an odd thing. Like it also sort of comes out of nowhere, and I'm gonna go ahead and spoil it just because I'm like this part I would like to talk about a bit more. She's dating a model named Dorothea, who is black, and she discovers at the end that she's not actually black. Like she reveals that she like takes like melanin pills or something, and like tans a lot to because she became more successful as a black model. Um, and it's so fucking weird. Like it's just like it doesn't do anything for the story, and it's also just like leaves a weird taste in your mouth because like, oh, this is like someone trying to like, what's her name, Rachel Dolezal. Yeah, like I thought of her like when I was reading this, I thought of Rachel Dolezal, or however you pronounce her name, the woman who claimed to be black. And I'm not saying anything about people's culture or how they grew up or anything, but it's just like it's presented here in a very like flippant sort of way, like, oh, this is like a funny, weird, goofy thing that she did. And it's like, oh, this is like, and I mean, again, 1978, things were different, things were thought of differently. But yeah, it definitely like made me raise my eyebrows. What else is there to say about this book? But yeah, I liked it a lot. It definitely served the purpose that that I wanted it to from reading this, like something like fun and with characters that I would just really like a lot. Thematically, there's not a huge amount going on here in terms of like deeper meaning, but there are things, like I said, it brings to mind queer as folk a bunch of times, and one of the ways in which it does, and which other queer works of fiction often have done classically, is to put you in mind of this idea of a found family, like the people who live at this house apartment thing are sort of a found family, and how we as gay people often do have these found families because especially at the time, people were much more rejected by their biological families for being gay, or for being whatever. And so that piece of it was kind of the biggest thematic element to me. I guess just to wrap up, I really liked this book, other than a couple weird things that happened in it. I think it's something that, like, when I'm in the mood for something a little lighter, a little more fun, I will return to. And so I think if I had to give this like a rating, I would give it a 7 out of 10, something like that. And I think that's all I've got to say about this book. Thanks for watching. If you're actually watching, I mean, I presume you have to be, right? If you're watching, I'm excited to see what happens more with this channel, if anything happens with it. So thank you so much, and take care.